Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm here. Ames is here. Hey, look at that Roops.
Hello.
Look at that hairy Roops down at the bottom there.
He looks like
Esus?
Forrest Gump. You look like Forrest Gump when he goes on that countrywide run.
The country run. I'm gonna shave it. You know what's funny? I got to a point where I've wanted to be shaved for about a few weeks. I've been shorn for a few weeks, but I'm running and stuff, and I'm going outside, and it's cold, and
so you're literally like Forrest Gump.
I guess so. Yeah. And the other thing too is though, like, I'm so stupid that like I didn't want to do it the 1st of March, knowing that I was going to shave it in a month before I leave for the island. So like I want to just do it all at once. I don't want to do it in March and then do it in April. I know that.
Have you seen, Amy, the video clip that Joel put together of Esus as Forrest Gump?
And I don't know a Joel.
Joel hates Esus.
Whatever.
He probably hates me too, but yeah, Joel's like 7 feet tall. He's fucking crazy.
No, like the Joel?
Yeah, Joel.
Yeah.
Joel. But he would do
still?
I think so. I talked to him before I moved, and he was like, "Yeah, I still listen all the time." So I haven't heard from him.
Yeah.
But he's, unless he lied, which he could have. Yeah. Joel's great though, but he was doing some killer video work. He's actually put together some like best of Detroit cast stuff.
I remember, yes.
But on YouTube, he's got like a channel. I don't think he's done anything with it for a while. I went on there one day. I just stumbled upon it, and it was hilarious. I was just like, oh my God, there was some crazy shit on that show. But one of them is Esus as Forrest Gump, and he's just like really toddler-esque, taking Esus's face and from multiple pictures and put it on Forrest running through the woods and shit.
I'm glad you actually mentioned this because it makes me hope that he is listening. I went down the same rabbit hole. I watched that video, and in that video, he used clips from a documentary kind of video that I shot at OCC of me running and stuff. I did like a video for an editing class, and I just messaged the page like 3 or 4 days ago or something and said, hey, I don't know who's controlling this still. Like, I watched the video and I commented on it. I'm like, I don't know if you're still controlling this page anymore. It's been a few years. Where'd you get this footage? I would love it.
Where did you get that?
I don't know.
That's funny.
Dude, the video, because Mike's right. He takes my face and he puts it on Forrest Gump's body, but he uses video from a film that I shot for OCC, a class at OCC.
Yeah.
And I don't have it anymore. And I'd love to have it.
Oh, that's funny. Damn, Esus got old. Yeah, Chris, I see it too. Esus is old, but welcome in, my friend. It's so that beard, it's getting gray. Like, yeah, dude.
Yeah. It does look a lot different if I shave. Like, if I were to come on tomorrow and I'm shaved, shorn, it would look better. But I mean, I am old. I'm 42. I know it's all relative. Amy's younger than me, and I'm younger than you, so it's relative. But all those years of calling me a 39-year-old man or whatever, well, I'm 41 now. So
has your niece seen you without that facial hair?
I believe so. Yeah,
I wonder if it would freak her out.
Yeah, no, she did. She has, because when I came back from the island, I shorn myself, I guess. So she has,
The island is in turmoil right now.
I know, it's crazy.
What's going on at the island? Are you guys getting beat down with storms or some shit? Is that what's going on?
Our tornado alarm went off on Sunday, I think. Yeah, yours didn't. I'm surprised.
No, we just had a super severe thunderstorm thing go off.
Yeah, I saw people on Facebook were posting like, oh my God, battening down the hatches. Like, it sounded like it was pretty rough. And then I don't know I'm so out of the loop. I don't know what's going on in Mackinac. What happened?
Well, they had a huge ice storm, and honestly, it legit wreaked havoc on the the island. Like, so it's one of those situations where you had freezing rain overnight, and it made just became so heavy on the branches and the stuff like that it's trees are down like a motherfucker.
Trees are down, power's out. I met with, I think I've told you about him before, but I have a client who has a house on Mackinac. And I just happened to meet with him today, and he was saying, he's like, the person who I have check on my house when I'm not there hasn't even been able to leave his house. Like, he's just stuck in there. And they said they never cancel school on the island, like, because why would you? There's no buses or anything, so you can just get to school. But they canceled it yesterday, and I think they canceled it again today.
No, it's crazy.
Really?
It's a pretty big deal. It's funny, not to get too nerdy about it, but I was just talking to my parents about it, and I was like, I know the boss up there. I'm going to be up there in 3 weeks. And this would be a time of the year normally where it'd be like, okay, let's start to ease into getting this whole place ready for the summer. And this happening would have been such a nightmare. It would have been such a, like, now I got to use all my men, which is very limited because it's so early.
To E.
I know. He's the boss. I got to use all my men.
I got to call in all my men.
Not me, but the boss.
Well,
but no,
he's
it's
going
just
to be
crazy.
the boss one
We
day.
were talking about you yesterday. We're like, isn't it hilarious? This dude's going to be running that fucking island. He's going to be the mayor of Mackinac. Like, you legit could, dude, because the funny thing about Esus, for all the hatred and all that, you are one of the sweetest human beings anyone will ever meet. Like, you don't have an enemy. You don't hate anybody. You get along with everybody no matter what they look like, how they behave. You're just that guy.
I actually kind of stirred up some my little E-Venture comedy podcast kind of stirred some shit up on the island a little bit. Actually, when you say I don't have any enemies, I'm not going to get too into it. I'm not going to get too into it. But the island is like there's an inner circle and outer circle, and the people that are full-time livers there, people that live there full-time. And yeah, I heard it. I know, but like there is a thing, and that I came in here and was doing a podcast about the island, became like a talk amongst people that, and then it was just, so it is a weird dynamic sometimes there.
You know what, Esus?
There's some beef between another.
Yeah.
But the thing
you know
is
what, dude? That's 100% jealousy stuff. Like, you can't worry about it because people that start a podcast will struggle to get 4 listeners ever. Yeah. That's just the reality. And so when they see someone come and it's like, we're full time, why aren't they? It's like, yeah, it's not quite that simple. And so like getting any listens is not, it's just not easy to do, especially for any sustainable amount of time.
Right.
And so if you come there and start doing a show on the island, you have people in Detroit who are familiar with you.
Yeah.
And you're entertaining. And so you're going to get more people paying attention to you doing stand-up. You're going to get more people paying attention to a podcast. That's just the way it is. And so you just need to ignore that shit.
Oh, it's not a big deal. But I'm just, when you mentioned that, it's almost kind of funny because I did stir up a little how do we used to say? Controversy on the island, even though you're right. There's not a person, in my opinion, that loves that freaking place more than me. I'm absolutely obsessed with it, obviously.
Yeah.
And what it is. What are you going to do?
No, dude, I'm so glad. I used to tell you in some of our late night off-air talks about how, dude, you're going to figure it out. You're right where you need to be. You're going to, the chick situation will fall into place for you. The stability of the work.
We're still waiting on that.
Yeah. And that's okay. I used to lie to myself and say that too. So I get it. But I always knew the work situation, like you'd find, whether it be on a show or something like this, it's like you're a hard worker and you're fun. So I always knew that would work out.
And the thing is, the funny thing, not to get too much into it, but the thing is, I've still turned all the stuff I've done that's me into up there. I did the talent show again last year, finished 3rd, wrote a whole comedy set just about the island. I wrote 2 different sets that were completely non-tested on anybody. I just and then this year I've got a photo that's going to be in the art museum for the summer. Like, so
I know.
He gets recognized.
I know.
I'm making my mark up there.
It's awesome, man. I love it. I love following from afar. I saw that you've got the picture you took in the gallery and up for an award. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Great. So I'm still, it's like you said, though. I think I'm just using, I've always seen it like everything came from, the internship started it all, obviously, but the internship into making that work and then into doing the TDC with you. And it's just, if you're smart, even though I'm not financially still where I wish I'd be, but it's like, but there have been a lot of really good wins along the way, though. Very cool fucking things that I'm very proud of. But
yeah.
Hey, listen, you guys are both living in basements, so don't even worry about it at this point,
dude.
Hey, 6 months a year, I have my own little room. Okay, I have my own room. I'm not allowed guests, but I have it.
Not allowed.
You're not allowed to have guests there.
Not allowed to. I'm sure it's happened.
Can you have sleepovers? Like if you met a chick, could you have a sleepover?
You're not. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. It hasn't to me, but
I mean at your parents' house.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
I mean, I got.
Wait, is that your room? Is your room?
That's his bedroom. Yeah. He's at
right
the manor.
Yeah.
Well, when E and I do shows, he's not in that space.
I know.
So
I gussied it up for Mike.
Oh, I see. I see where I fall.
I could only hear the comments coming from, because when I do it with Amy, the backdrop is just literally like a fucking shelf of old
like a storage shelf
family shit
in the basement.
So
yeah,
I could only hear Mike's comments. So I came up here that looked like a more reasonable backdrop.
Yeah, no, it looks good. But in fairness, Amy, he's straightening up and trying to keep things relatively cleaned up because he's moving out and he doesn't want to leave it a shithole. So it's yes, it looks relatively quaint and nice around him, but that's because he doesn't want to stick his parents with 6 months of.
I didn't realize your room was pink. Makes sense.
Purple.
Oh, purple. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but
so we've got plenty to get to today, including the airing of grievances, which we'll do momentarily. People are always fans of the grievances. I've never fully understood it, but
I think I've got a thing. People like to hear what someone's complaining about, and they like to judge. Who doesn't like to
feel
Validated, yes. Is it going to garner a bona fide, or are you a pussy, an old man, old lady, whatever it may be? And
I can be old man. You can.
Yeah,
that's fine.
pussy
Don't
old man
change
is kind
on
of
my account.
Okay, all right, old man. So those.
Yeah, I wonder who is going to side with here, the blonde chick or me.
No. Hey, dude, I play it right down the middle. Everybody knows this about me. I will give you your bona fides when they are deserved, Esus, and you know it. So we'll get to that in a moment.
A bona fide, but
sure, I'm sure it's happened.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure.
If you bring a bona fide grievance, believe me, I can't wait to utter those words. Esus, that is a bona fide grievance. I will give you those props. But I wanted to bum you out first, Esus, because, and I hope this will bum you out a little bit. I think it will. Chase says you should do this every week. Just saying. Yeah, I definitely want to have Esus on more often. I don't
know if he's referring to Esus or the grievances. One of the two.
Yeah. It's not specific.
That could be a future grievance. How dare you?
Chase,
stop having
you have
Esus
to clarify.
on.
You have to clarify.
Yeah, Chase, make it make sense. Do you mean grievances or Esus or both? But I was going to bum you out really quick because Amy and I are going to Dallas in a few weeks.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, we're going to do Normal World. Dave invited us on to do Normal World. And I was thinking about it and I was like, oh shit, last time I was there, like when you go in that giant studio setup that he's got, it's like there's a boat from the Titanic, one of the safety, one of the boat, like real ones, like there.
Really?
Oh my God, dude. The entire set from what's the show? All in the Family is there. Like Archie Bunker's chair. Titanic. The piano, dude, when you walk in, the fucking Titanic boat is up above you hanging in like NBC cameras from like the 50s. It's crazy. Sweet. So Glenn Beck has accumulated like $75 million worth of artifacts. And he's got this like museum, his own museum. Wow. And I was talking to Angela last time I was there and I was like, I want to see like Roseanne and Glenn were hopping into his fucking Bentley and going over there. Glenn was taking Roseanne for a tour. And I'm like, how do I get a fucking tour of this museum? And she's like, we can book it next time you come. And I was like, done. Yeah. And then I fucking remembered. And I'm like, I text her today. I'm like, Angela, how do we go to that fucking museum? She goes, dude, done. You want to go? Let's go. I'll set it up. And she's like, Amy wants to go too, right? And I was like, you fucking damn right she does.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, what's at the Glenn Beck Museum? Just some of the stuff.
Yeah.
And Esus, I'm sorry.
No.
Because
where's it, like, I keep wondering where this is going because I feel like it's going to be a very personal thing.
No. I know what a history buff you are.
Yeah.
And his shit is a collection of like thousands of things he's collected. Items personally owned significant to President Washington, Grant, Roosevelt, FDR, Lincoln, Reagan, Trump, Obama.
Wow.
He's got the 1977 Darth Vader mask, C-3PO and R2-D2, the originals.
That's crazy.
One of 7 pairs ever made of the ruby slippers are there. Hitler's signed orders from D-Day.
What?
Yeah.
That's sweet.
I guess signed order. Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hitler autographed him for the museum.
He caught Hitler backstage.
The best stuff's here, Hitler. Do you mind a signature real quick?
The 10 Commandments from the movie. The actual
10 Commandments
from the movie.
God? Oh, the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, from the movie, I said that. Ben-Hur's Chariot from the 1950s movie Ben-Hur. The German Enigma machine.
I'm familiar with that. But.
So the Enigma machine was what they use. It's like a typewriter. Oh, and they would like, kill all the Jews. And they would send it out to their people and it would scramble it. And it was one of the hardest codes to crack, like different governments from around the world.
Yeah.
Going back to 1944, they've been trying to crack the codes that they use because it would like multiple scramble it. And so you had to have an identical German Enigma machine set somewhere else to unscramble what the message was. It was usually like kill all the Jews or something like that, probably. Right. But
an
that
Enigma machine, that sounds like something in Scientology. Like,
I know, doesn't it?
That's a good point. Machine. Yeah, it
does. That's the Gettysburg Address, Esus.
Damn. Legit?
Yeah. Yes.
Like the original that he wrote down kind? That's crazy.
Seems like that should be in a different museum.
Yeah, I know. And I've heard Glenn say that. Like there's certain things here that you would think are in like historical vault somewhere, and he's
what it is. I think there's so much. Like we were before the show, like, and I know these aren't exactly the same. You're talking about like Gettysburg Address, but you and me are talking about like Stubbs and some of this shit. Mm-hmm. The reality is, even with history, there's so much now.
Yeah.
Now it's Gettysburg. That seems pretty big, but like there's so much stuff out there that you can. I think you can, if you have money, you can buy things that you almost think wouldn't exist, like or wouldn't be able to be purchased.
Oh, totally agree.
So everything has a price.
Yep.
There's the key to the Ford's Theater in the president's box, Lincoln's box.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Is there. The original Disneyland prospectus. So when they were drawing up the plans for Disneyland, I guess.
Okay.
The Bibles from Lincoln, King George III, King Louis, the Tinsdale Bible, von Stauffenberg's copy of Mein Kampf, the bloody towel used by Hitler after the bombing of Valkyrie.
A lot of Hitler stuff in here.
A lot of Hitler stuff.
Yeah, a lot of Hitler stuff. I know. I'm not passing judgment. These are historical items.
Of course.
For sure.
The first draft of the Declaration of Independence,
Jesus Christ. What?
Yeah. And the largest collection of documents in the Roe versus Wade case are on display too.
Wow.
So
where I thought that was going, by the way, all this to show those impressive things. And I thought, where I thought it was going is, and Pat Green's going to be there for some reason. That's all I thought. I think it's Texas. I don't think of anything else.
Who cares about the Declaration of Independence or the Gettysburg Address when Pat Green could be there?
And I pulled up like the calendar. I started looking at it. Like, I wonder where he'll be around that time.
Oh my God. I'm going to plan a trip out there when Pat's in town, and I'm going to fucking invite him to be on Dave's show when I'm doing it and just really rub it in.
That would, I would literally not talk to you again if you didn't invite me to that. Like,
I would literally let you go in my place if that was the case.
You know, Amy had a story that she told me one time about a work thing. Remember that, Amy?
Oh my God, yeah, I totally forgot about that.
She told me, tell Mike this. This is fucking ridiculous.
Did somebody hire Pat Green?
No, they were looking into it.
Oh, they were looking into it. Yes, that's right.
He does like a work, they do a work conference every year or something. And, we bring in so-and-so for entertainment, a magician or whatever.
Yeah.
And apparently one of her times they looked into hiring Pat Green.
They did.
And it was like, he was $35,000 or $50,000 something. And they didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, Amy. Like, if that had happened.
Yeah.
So crazy.
I had reached out to Pat Green's people at one point.
I remember.
Yeah. And I was going to just throw him on our air and do an interview with him with Esus there.
And there wasn't something happened. Like they didn't call you back or something.
No, they did. I can't remember. And I was just like, I don't give a shit about Pat Green anyway. So it's just not worth.
I can't.
Or I left. Right. I was gone for a few months, maybe one of those times. And it just kind of got thrown in. But I'm sure we could circle back through that. Someone did get you a Pat Green
cameo.
Though.
Yeah, Amy
was it you, Amy, that did that?
When Mandy broke up, when him and Mandy broke up.
Yes, it was a breakup present, which I still listen to. She gave me that in June of 2020. We are almost 5 years later, and I listen to it almost weekly. And I watched a little clip of it.
Is that your best gift ever?
If it's not, it's in the top 5. Like,
but what else would be up there?
The Tigers, old Tiger Stadium chairs are obviously really good. I mean, there's some. I've been lucky. My sister taken. I've been very
Lions playoff game or something.
Lions playoff game.
But they lost. You were bad luck.
The year they won. That was a Christmas present. The first.
Was that the Rams or the Bucks?
The Rams.
Rams.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
So I've had some good, but I'll admit I think it's the longest lasting in the sense that I regularly watch.
Yeah.
From 5 years ago. So,
by the way, I should say that whoever wants can take a tour of Glenn Beck stuff and book your own appointment. It's the American Journey Experience with Glenn Beck, and it's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So if you're out there looking for something to do, I mean, that's some pretty cool shit. Yeah. And I was asking Angela, I'm like, I don't want to be cattle call with a bunch of fucking people. And
cattle call.
Yeah, and so she's like, I'm not good in museums. I'm like, you got to go with me and Amy. And
I'm
she's
not
like,
appropriate either.
Yeah, and so I think the three of us are highly inappropriate in settings like that.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be a disaster, probably.
Yes.
But I'm so excited. This is almost like a first date, Amy, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Where you going? A few weeks.
I'm so excited. I remembered because I was like, oh, I know. I like land in Dallas and be like, oh, fuck. I probably should have. And I remembered, and we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
What was that, Esus?
I just said, what did you say? A few weeks, you said?
Yeah. April 23rd. We'll be on the show.
Nice.
So
if you ever see Glenn Beck in person, Mike, you can thank him. For me, he's the reason I bought the van when I bought my minivan at the time. I was literally I bought my minivan in March or April of 2021 before I went on the cross country trip. I was originally going to wait till like October just because in my mind I wanted to have as much money where I was. So I remember exactly what I could spend and stuff. And I was sitting there listening to Glenn Beck one morning, driving around doing DoorDash, and he's like, "There's a few things that you need to be buying if you're thinking about doing it, like do it now." And one of them was cars. I bought the van within a week of that remark, and they literally, I just remember how much used cars have not even really come down since. They like skyrocketed.
Yeah.
See,
Glenn's later, he's got your back. So I've met him a couple times. I have not.
We will
told
be
him
sure
that
to
story.
tell him.
You can tell him Eric Fady thanks him because he bought a minivan at the exact
a used
right
van.
Yeah,
a used van.
That's funny.
On his advice, though.
Yeah.
Who needs Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah, he'll be glad to know people are listening and taking his advice for what it is.
There's people out there, and he's not just talking to a microphone.
Yes. We'll get to some news items. I try to cater as much as I can. It's tough because I know Esus hates most of the stories I pick for the news.
Amy's here, so she can do the heavy lifting.
Yeah. But I also have to get my trans fixes and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a wobbly table, but I've done my best. But the airing of grievances. You've walked around bigger
eggshells than me before, I'm sure of it.
What's that?
You've walked around bigger eggshells on this show than me.
Oh, before. Yeah. But I want to be nice to my people, and we'll have some fun. But we can't have more fun than the airing of grievances. And I think I have a bona fide one. Actually, I don't know that it's bona fide. It's more of a pet peeve for me. So I don't care how you guys judge it.
And remind us of the options. Bona fide, which is what we're all striving for. Like, we're all in agreement. This is bullshit. Yep. We need to stop this behavior in some form or fashion. There's also pussy. You're being a pussy. Yep.
Just being an old man.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Those are the three choices.
Although Mike, in traditional fashion, Mike always downplays his thing so much.
What?
Always.
No, he doesn't.
Sandbagger.
I am not a sandbagger.
and yours are usually good, by the way.
So mine are usually not very good. It's not true. And I don't want any host points like, oh, he's the host. We can't upset him. You know,
no.
I
You would
only
never
want
do that.
Yeah, I only want to be bona fide if it's bona fide, and I'm obviously fair with my rulings as well. Yeah. So, all right, I will start. And my grievance, again, you guys are going to hate this, but I don't care. I don't care. I am done with eulogy speeches in fucking movies or TV shows. And while we're at it, vows in movies and TVs. Unless it is central to the plot, like Runaway Bride or Wedding Crashers.
Where did this come up that often? I'm trying to think.
We assume the two assholes there are in love. We get it. We don't need to fucking spend 3 minutes going through. And if someone dies, I've been watching Lost, and there's been so many people that die on the island, and they've had multiple eulogies, and it's like, yeah, we get it. Yeah, you probably like these people. Great. Next.
Right.
I'm going to assume I don't need to see you guys tie your shoes, brush your teeth, wipe your ass. Like, there's just some things. Yes, someone died. We had the funeral. There was a eulogy. All these people got married. Yeah, they said they loved each other. Yeah, they can't. Great. Next. It seems like you're stalling. You're wasting time, and it's driving me nuts.
I will say one. I'm very curious to see what you think of Lost rewatch. I have never been able to go back and rewatch it.
It's actually really good.
It's really good. I've done that a few times.
Yeah.
I've never been able to. It's funny because I know how good it was at time. No, because I guess I'm still just stuck in the fact of the ending, and I just I don't allow that.
So much more though when you
so much more.
I probably should. And
dude,
that was my first take.
I'll say this, Esus. I had the same concerns. It kept popping up on Netflix, like things to watch.
Yeah,
and I was like, maybe I'll watch the first episode. I remember the first episode being like grabbed everybody and was like, holy shit, what are they doing? And so I was like, I'll just watch the first episode, but I'm not going to get into it because I know everybody bitched about the ending, and everybody hated the ending. I think I did too.
If I remember, I hated it. Like from what I remember, or just people told me I did. But
yeah, it could be a thing though. So I started watching. I watched the first episode, and I was like, yeah, that's amazing how much that held up. You know, there's so much stuff. You go 10 years on, and it just doesn't. There's so much better stuff out there, and it doesn't quite hold up. So I was like, maybe I'll watch the second episode. Before long, dude, I'm 7 episodes in, and dude, I'm on the last season, and
already
I feel like, so this has been going on for a couple months.
Well, I say already. You just told me right now you're watching it. I go, and I just assume that it's like you started on one today.
Yeah. And I started watching all of them, and it gets a little hokey, and I'm like, hang on, hold in there. And there's a lot of kind of tying in and a lot of pullbacks, callbacks happening. And I don't know what to expect in these last 10 episodes. I literally remember none of it, but I'm really glad I watched it again. It holds up all the way through.
It does hold up well.
But they did admit that they got lost. No pun intended. But they did admit that they didn't quite know where it was going at.
Yeah, they had no idea. They had no idea.
Okay.
Which is still mind-blowing. But you look at like Carlton Hughes and J.J. Abrams, the creators of it. Like,
God, I didn't realize J.J. Abrams was part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's how we knew who J.J. Abrams was.
Okay.
Was Lost. If I remember, the amount of people that pop into that, I'm like, oh my God, that's Rob McElhenney from.
Yeah.
He's in Lost?
Dude, he's in like 2 episodes of Lost.
Dang, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, from Always Sunny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on, what's his name? I know it.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it was like, yeah. So I find myself digging into it and just like, wow, that's the chick from Walking Dead. I haven't seen her in or like The Walking Dead or something.
Like Lost spawned a lot of careers.
What I always remember about it was the guy, I think his name was Locke, like the bald dude, the older guy.
Yeah,
John Locke. He came from the UP somewhere. I remember my mom always talking about it. Like
in real life.
Really?
Yeah, in real life he was from like the UP. I'm almost certain of it. But he was from the UP or something. And my mom used to talk.
You're talking about Terry O'Quinn.
Is that his name?
Terry O'Quinn. He's a great actor, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
You
know what? But speaking. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say it's really held up though. I'm waiting. Like there's what we're running into where I think, and then we'll get back to my grievance. There's this crossover. 60 seconds. Yeah, no. We're not on my grievance anymore. We're on Lost now.
Okay.
And we're in this crossover period that's going to get really, it's kind of like cassette tapes and CDs.
Yeah.
Like not connecting. Like there's so many plot lines in TV and movies from the 90s, 2000s that relied on the fact that there's not a tracking GPS system on everyone's hip at all times. Their phone technology wasn't like, I know exactly where they are. Like, so you see that kind of thing where the flip phones are going and it's like, oh yeah, the new StarTAC phone came out that year and they've all got, like things like that are not going to quite compute with younger people. Like my guess is if Marshall was to watch it, he'd be like, what is this thing? Just Google it.
My niece watched Clueless on the plane ride down to Florida the last time we went. And she goes, I didn't realize this movie was from the 80s. And we're just like, fuck you. Like, what? It's not even that old. And I actually, speaking of things holding up, I used to watch Melrose Place all the time when I was younger.
God, this is funny. Yeah.
So which was super inappropriate. One time when I was student of the month in like 3rd grade, they asked you like what your favorite TV show is. And I said Melrose Place. And my mom was like, Amy, you cannot tell people that that's your favorite show. It's super inappropriate for like a 3rd grader to watch, which it totally was. But it was my mom's favorite show and she watched it. And so I watched it. So it's on Paramount Plus. It's on I think it's Paramount Plus. And I was like, you know what? I want to see if Melrose holds up. Like I just remember really enjoying it as a kid.
Yeah, I bet it doesn't. It's like a horrible soap opera.
I've been on episode 1 for like 3 days. I cannot get through it. It's so painful. Like, first of all, the longest intros. TV shows had the longest intros.
Oh, I know.
You know the musical transitions in between scenes. It was the first season was 92. And so I kind of want to get to like the newer seasons that were in like 97, 98. I feel like that's what I would have remembered more. But it's just tough. It doesn't hold up well.
Yeah.
Because kind of what you were saying, you're like, none of these people have fucking cell phones. Like, it's just, it's so weird,
Like, you realize a cell phone would solve so many issues that come up in plot lines. And you're like, just Google it, fucker. You're fine.
Right. Oh, you can't find so-and-so? Why don't you call them on their phone?
Yeah, exactly.
Pull up their location.
That's funny. Melrose, I was like, Drew and Mike got super into Melrose. And I mean, it was like the biggest show on TV. Like, I was never a 90210 guy or really a Melrose guy.
Yeah. And Melrose, I guess I didn't realize Melrose was like a 90210 spinoff.
Yeah.
Because in the first episode, Kelly and Dylan and one other person are like make cameos in it. And Kelly is like dating one of the Melrose Place dudes. And it's like this super inappropriate age gap. So I'm going to continue to try to keep pushing through. But it's difficult. It's like, I'd love to hear your take on stuff like what's inappropriate, what would never fly today. There's probably tons of that. For sure.
By the way, real quick, Muriel Quinn was born in Sault Ste. Marie. So
Sault Ste. Marie. Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting.
A native Michigander.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
All right. So you've heard my grievance. I know it's limited. It's very, it is what it is, but I'm done with vows and eulogy speeches in movies and TV.
Do you want to go first, Amy, or what do you think?
Pussy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, she just went right for it.
That wasn't even hard for her. I feel like it's lazy writing is what it is. You're just killing 3 minutes. You're writing the same thing that every fucking eulogy ever says or vows ever say. It's just dumb.
Well, what I'm going to say
I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the
plot development.
It's not.
You've grown connected to these characters.
Fine. Amy wants to see people tie their shoes in the morning and brush their teefies and wipe their butts and take their showers.
That's not character development.
Dumb.
That is not character development.
Ugh. Oh, you got married. Cool. Next.
I'm going to say something I say to my dad, who is like 70, when we're watching TV shows. Well, this and that, and this and that. I'm like, Dad, something has to happen. Because you're just saying like, just get to the point. Like, but you're watching a show. things have to happen.
Right.
It can't just be. And to Amy's point, character development. Like, you've grown these characters. I like emotional moments in shows.
Yeah,
when someone dies, we're going to sit there and be like, all right, Locke's dead. Next, move on.
No, that's fine. You know, show a panning scene over a sunset of them standing around like, oh, they must be having the eulogy. Thank God they're not giving us the stupid speeches around the horn.
Well, you know, Mike, I mean, if you
minutes.
were stranded on an island and you grew close to all these people, presumably if one of them died, you would have a funeral and someone would give a eulogy. So it's mirroring real life.
In real life,
when a polar bear is chasing you out.
Oh, well. Move on.
So what do you deem, Esus? Are you going to be totally unfair like Amy was? Just go for the joke. I get it. That's fine.
I gotta go old man, I think.
Wow. Okay.
Because, like I said, I say this to my dad. My dad, right? I feel so bad because he's literally, I remember recording this from my parents' house. He's reading a book in the next room.
Yeah. I feel bad for him. But I hope he's not unfairly judged like you just did to me from the other room.
Something has to happen in a show. You're watching TV.
Look, I can just picture E saying that to his dad, too. Dad,
yeah, he get all frustrated.
We can't just sit there.
Totally be frustrated. Shut up. Shut up, old man.
Me and Amy talked about this one time. The idea, like, is it possible to watch a movie? Like, if I'm by myself, or if you go to the movie theater, we all just sit there. But is it really possible? Because every single individual, we all have our idea of what is stupid, what isn't stupid, and what's okay and what isn't okay. And so if you watch a movie or TV show with 3 separate people, is it possible to sit there and not have one person make a comment and the other person say, leave it alone, but then the other person say something and then that person get mad?
No,
right?
People like it's a great example. Your dad and I have really high standards about what we expect out of programming.
About dialogue.
You guys
really high level.
You guys get into the stupid infantile stuff and are apparently appeased by that. I personally am not. It sounds like your dad is not.
Better, Hollywood.
But our time is limited, and we want, if you're going to take my time, then
your
do
time
better.
Is limited.
Yeah, that's bullshit. He's watched all of Lost in like 2 months.
My limited time. I'm rewatching a show from 20 years ago, and
I expect greatness. You were paid as if this was greatness. Don't waste my time on vows and eulogies. Stop it. I'm with your old man on this one, and that's fine. You guys want to play around and not care.
I wish
that's
I would have gone.
Whose grievance is fine? Pussy old man. I get both. Great.
Yep.
Which one of you clowns? And unlike you, I can judge fairly on the bona fides of your grievances. I will listen and I will give you an honest representation.
I'm sure you
who's
will.
going first? Amy, do you want to go next?
Sure, I'll go.
Okay.
My grievance is when, you know, those signs on the freeway that show you like, oh, there's a Speedway and a Starbucks at this exit.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, I'm going to stop and I'm going to grab a Starbucks. I'm going to stretch my legs really quick, whatever. So then you pull off the exit and then you get to the sign that is off of the exit. And it says like Starbucks to the right, 7 miles. And it's like, well, fuck that. I'm not trying to go 7 miles out of my way. There should
really
be a
14
limit.
miles out of your way, but
there should be a limit on
how
far away
dude,
how far off the highway is.
Yes. Like if you're above,
it literally better be right there.
Honestly, like 1 mile is pushing it, but I think if you're over 2 miles, it shouldn't be qualified to be on that sign.
This is so bona fide. I mean, you're a pussy and an old man, but dude, I ran into this literally when I was going to California. I ran into that multiple times where it was like,
yeah,
I just want to pop in, drive through really quick and just get back on the freeway and run into that 2.4 miles to a fucking Wendy's.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, 2.4. I have to do multiple turns and a turnaround. This is bullshit. No,
total bullshit.
If you're given one of those signs, it should literally be, this exit is basically just a fast food and gas.
Yeah.
And
totally.
There's these 3 right here.
Yes.
You're a pussy for whining about it, but that's bona fide for sure.
I'm going to give it like a half and half. My thing would be if you have anybody in the car.
Oh, fuck you, E. You know it's bona fide.
If you have anybody in the car, you should be Googling what are the next stops and how close they are to the highway.
Far too much work. You have to look signs.
Yeah, the car Googler's the worst. I don't like the car Googler that knows everything. The warden loves to do this.
Actually, you know what's funny?
There's a donut shop up here to the right, 3 miles. It's just like, ugh.
I said that, and you know what's funny about that is I was being very hypocritical. I like the surprise, and so actually, when I go with people, I'll be like, okay, in the next half hour, say we're gonna stop and whatever, and I do not want to know at all what is coming up. I want the signs to tell me, and I want just to be surprised. I hate it.
What?
When someone yes, I hate it. We would do it on the trip with the guys in 22. Chubbs does it to me when I go. I went down to NASCAR race this winter with him or something, and I'll be like, okay, we're gonna stop within the next half hour. But I want it just to be what it is, and then that's what I hate. The idea,
if it's like there's a Wendy's, a Taco Bell, and a McDonald's at this stop, you don't want to know that.
I don't want someone going like, oh, what do you want to get? Like, oh, I'll look ahead and see, oh, in 2 stops, there's these 3 things. I'm like, no, I want to be surprised.
He just wants to see it. Yeah. Like when I see it, I'll know.
The problem is when you're on the open road, you get to one of those, it's a crapshoot. If you don't know, it's like, oh, there's a fucking jerky store here.
I know.
Yeah.
Like,
totally.
It's ridiculous. I'm telling you, it's
random
ridiculous.
ass diner.
Yeah.
No, it's ridiculous.
For that.
It's ridiculous. I agree. It's so obnoxious.
Yeah, that is beyond obnoxious.
But that is how I am. I want it to be surprised.
Hey, before we get to
Bonafide,
grievance, yes, thank you. We've got over 200 people watching right now, and to Jake.
Well, they know Esus is here. This is a very exciting day.
Esus is a big draw. Esus is a big draw. So, Jake, thank you for liking and sharing. A reminder for everybody to do that.
Wow, look at Amy stepping into the role.
She's great. She's great at this. I've always sucked at it.
Well, she got good practice on the e-venture.
I was just going to say both of my podcast worlds are colliding at the moment.
Yeah. She played in the minor leagues, learned how to fucking hit the curveball. She learned how to hit the curveball, and now she's in the bigs.
A crafty veteran starting his own shit up, and then some intern came in, and now she's doing better than me. But my intern has surpassed me.
You have an open seat here always, and you know it.
I know.
Honestly, before I had you back on, I wanted to get in here. I wanted to get in this studio.
No, I know it's not.
You know what I mean?
You know what I was thinking?
What?
You know what I was going to say real quick? What I was thinking when I kicked to my grievance, but by me doing it, because I haven't been on in this calendar year yet. This is the first one. So I now at least can say I've been at least on an episode every year since, 2013 when I first came out in October, right?
Yes.
And I was thinking about when I watched your episode that you did with E-Rock there, which was great.
Thank you.
How long were you exactly on the Drew and Mike show? I forget if it was 15 or I know the show was like 22 years.
I 17 of those 22 years I was on. So I interned for them in 95 for like 9 months. And then I left and was gone for a year in Lansing. And then Beagle got us fired in Lansing when he threatened to throw the owner's glass eyeball down the hallway in a rant on the air.
Yeah.
He got himself fired, and then they wanted to stick me with a hole. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And so I left and went to Kalamazoo, and then I came back to Detroit and was literally I was going to move. I was going to go to California and see if I could find something in radio out there. I knew a couple people from 96.3 at that point that I worked with in Lansing. That I worked with in Detroit that had gotten moved up to 96.3, friend Nicole, and then another guy, Tom. And they were out she was at 96.3 and he was in San Francisco. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go to California, get out of this weather. Yeah. And Doug Podell called. It was like, dang, all right. We need some help.
The Doc
on the Drew and Mike show. And they knew who I was. 101 W. RIF.
Did he do it when he called you? did he tell you it was the Doc Rock in the call? And then
he did not. Letters? No. But they were looking for producer, I believe for the news, for Trudy's News. And I was like, I don't know anything about news production. He's like, you're mostly working with Drew and Mike, so I did. Okay. Yeah. And so I did that and I produced Trudy's News for, I don't know, a handful of months. And then they, one day they pulled Mark and I separately. Doug pulled us into his office and was like, we're giving you guys a raise, and took us from like 12 to like 18 grand a year or something. And it was like, wow, we got this. Wonder what this is about. And they fucking shit canned Rob.
Yeah. Okay.
5 minutes later, after they'd secured us, and they were worried that Rob was going to go start a show and take Mark and I. And it was like, all right, give these fucking idiots some money so they won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And so that was 96, 97-ish. And then I was there till the end of the show.
My point was going to be is that like, you've done this for going on 12 years.
Yeah.
And so that's almost, I mean, it's more than half the time you were doing Drew and Mike.
Yeah.
Is that wild in a way?
That's crazy to think about.
I know.
That's what I thought of when, I don't know why, but honestly, I thought of that when you were talking about that. Because I thought, dude, he's been doing this for that amount of years.
Yeah.
So, not really no arc to that, just kind of crazy.
No, believe me, it's not lost on me. When you think about it, it's like, holy shit, I've been kind of in this space for more, 28 years or something like that. So it's kind of wild. Yeah.
Should I get to my
grievance? All right, E, what's your grievance?
All right, Esus. Yes, what's your grievance?
It happened just today. And you know what? I know where it's already going. I don't care. I'm trying to upgrade. I went into the upgrade my phone, get a newer iPhone, and
this is so pussy old man already. I don't even know where you're going.
I don't care. Every fucking thing you do these days, you have to download an app. Like you have to download a new app. It doesn't matter if you're going to goddamn McDonald's and ordering it online, or Pizza Play, anywhere you go to, the amount of apps I have to log into and make new passwords for that I'm never going to use again.
You know what? This is bona fide.
It's old man though.
Yeah.
I know it's old
man.
No,
it is not old man. It is bona fide.
It made it into an Always Sunny episode, by the way, too, last season. But
this is a tough one because while very bona fide, I feel like this is stolen and pussy and old man.
Stolen valor.
This is stolen valor. I feel like other people have talked about this. I may have talked about this already.
You might have.
The one that's getting me is the drive-through ones with them. Like, would you like to donate the rest of your life savings to save the planet? Like fuck off, Taco Bell.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's funny because I just noticed today I still have the Atlantis app on my phone. And I was in the Bahamas like 2 months ago. So I'm like, why the fuck do I still have the Atlantis app?
Why is this so important to them? And what you're talking about, Esus, if you go to like a McDonald's drive-thru, hi, will you be using your app today? It's like, no.
Totally. Yes.
No, I don't have your fucking McDonald's app.
For example, when I was trying to go get an upgraded phone, go from an iPhone from 13 to the new one, like she's telling me first, like all this stuff you have to do. And then she's like, and you have to go through the T-Mobile app first. And you do most of it through there. I'm like, well, why am I even here then?
Yeah.
And to be fair, the only time I ever go into a store anymore, because obviously most of us don't, but I'm trying to upgrade my phone and it'd be nicer because usually they just have it right there. And you just like, this is the first time. Anytime I've done it before this, you walk in there, they say, okay, well, that just means you have to, get a new 2-year deal because you're getting a new phone. Yeah. And you walk out in an hour max and all your stuff is on the new phone.
Yeah.
I had to go in there.
Now that's old man.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
That part is old man.
I get it. But I'm just saying, like, you have to do an app to find. And she's like, well, and you cannot do it without doing that. I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I'll make this app up, sign a new name, and then I won't use it for 2 years. And it's just sitting on my phone. Anyway, that's
the original.
Mike, I've stopped answering at the drive-thrus when they yell that at me. I just don't answer. Yeah. Because it's like a recording anyway. It's never the real person who's taking your order. Not.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with you. I know they're trying like AI ones so they can blow out the teenage idiot that's
God,
there.
Dude, I went to one.
That's what they're testing. I know they're doing that at like Carl's Jr. or.
Have you been to one yet where they do it? An AI one?
I've been to the kiosks ones.
No, but I'm talking like
those. The AI, yeah.
In the drive-thru where there's a mechanical voice talking to you.
Yeah. Where did you do it at?
I was in Indianapolis and I did it at a fucking, what was it? I don't know, fast food, whatever. But like I ordered something and then realized like, because I don't usually get the meal because I don't get pop. So usually I'm like, oh, I'll get separate individual items or something. And I was ordering something and all of a sudden I realized, no, that's not what I want. And I kept, it's like when you're on the phone, the jokes you always hear, like, speak to a representative. I'm like sitting there trying. I'm like yelling, no, I don't want the fries anymore. And it's like, do you mean this? I'm like, no, I don't mean that.
Oh, what a shit show. Oh
and
my
God. What I
God.
did is they had 2 lanes, luckily. So I backed up and went into a second one and made the right order.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Good play.
They just kept yelling at me.
I ran into something similar, Esus, at a, it's not Carl's Jr. It's the other one that isn't common. Is Carl's Jr. a Hardee's?
Kinda,
I think they're like the same.
Are they the same?
Yeah.
What's the other one that's like a
Rallies
checkers?
and checkers?
Rallies
Rallies and
Rallies and checkers.
Rallies
There was
and checkers,
one-
Hardee's and Carl Jr.
Yeah, there was one of those that I went to that had something similar, and it was like, no, human. I need a human. Just put a fucking person on.
I'm like, no, I don't want any fries.
This is what $15 an hour got us, by the way.
Yeah,
We couldn't just talk to a minimum wage human. Now we have to talk to a AI bot. I was in a meeting today, and the Mackinac guy, the one who has the house on Mackinac, he's like, hey, I have a video of me rapping. And I was like, and he's this older dude, white slick back hair. Like he's not, I was shocked. And I was like, I need to see this video.
Absolutely.
And he's like, and I made up the words, and it was all about our industry. And so it was just like, so he's playing the video, and
I'm into ChatGPT and
dying laughing.
Is it terrible?
It was so
It's got to be so hokey and terrible.
It was so funny. And so I was like, oh my God, Bob. I was like, that is just so, I'm very impressed by that. You did a great job. He's my client. And so,
in other words, I have to say this.
Yeah. He's like, you want to know how I did that? I was like, did ChatGPT help you write those lyrics? He's like, the entire thing is AI. He's like, that's not not me. I didn't do that. Somebody in our IT department got my voice, got my face, and just completely made this AI video. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, I knew it could be done, but it looked so real.
Dude, it's crazy.
So scary.
Are you guys getting fooled at all on stuff like the ones that have gotten me, a couple of them briefly, and then I immediately go to the comments, and it's second, third comment is like, I can't believe how many people have fallen for this. And it'll be like what looks like a realistic trailer, like, finally they're rebooting Melrose Place, and they'll have or they're redoing Friends. The cast is signed on, and it'll have them kind of updated, like how they'd look today. And I'm like, there's a couple of them I've kind of bid on.
Yeah, it's gonna get worse though.
Eminem.
It's gonna get so worse.
Eminem's gotten me a couple times on that. Like I've clicked on it, like, oh, new Eminem song, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it's Eminem AI, like some Eminem song.
No, for sure. I mean, there's all those celebrities, right, that have said like now they're doing commercials. They see themselves on a commercial selling something, and they're like, that's not me.
I mean, really scary to think about. Like anyone could.
Oh yeah.
Make all of us at this point, voices, faces are out there enough.
If nothing is real, then there's some saying.
Dude, someone could make something and accuse you of saying something horrible, and you're like, that's not me. Like what?
The ones that are would piss me off are what they do to Rogan, because all you need is one of those velvet curtains and a microphone. Right. And you can, because the way his is shot, it's not like 3 boxes like we're doing. Right. It's 1 and 1. And so you can have Joe lead in with anything he's ever said on the show. And then it goes to you, and it makes it look, if you don't know, it makes it look like Joe Rogan is interviewing you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And people are doing that, like, so tell me about this new product to lose weight, and he might be talking to some, very, like some doctor professor that has and all of a sudden it's just some dude hawking a bullshit pill,
Right.
So I think Rogan's dealing with a lot of that shit with AI doing that, or people doing that.
How do you go after this in some way?
Absolutely nothing, because they're 30 years behind on any law. And so, I mean, my God, they're barely catching up with revenge.
Well, and even with a law, what do? Some guy in, India or something is making up videos and throwing them in the thing.
And then that's what they'll tell you is
there's nothing you can do with that.
They're overseas,
Yeah. Well, you're totally right, Amy, in saying how they're 30 years behind on anything, as if, they're going to get, you would think that they could use AI to help them get a handle on this stuff. Like, it's like, oh, are all the stories we hear about AI only going to be because AI is able to just fuck all of us over on stuff?
Right.
Where it's like, can you use AI in a good way to be able to tell when you're being screwed over, or revenge porn, or, to try and mitigate some of that stuff? Or is it only going to be used by crafty, creative people for nefarious reasons?
Yeah.
Because it helps me write some pretty effective emails.
Does it?
Yeah.
How does that even work? Like, I mean, instead of writing the email, you're just like, write me an email saying.
It helped me with the retirement speech I had last week. I had all the thoughts in my head, but they were making me like so emotional that I was just like, help me write a retirement speech for blah, blah, blah. And then I just listed off a bunch of like qualities, like I've worked with him for this long. He's done this, done that, blah, 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 Michigan fan. And then it just puts it in it like,
yeah, it's pretty amazing, honestly.
Gives you a retirement speech. And I didn't have to change any of it. It was like, wow, this is really good.
Do you think people would know? Like, if I typed in the same kind of information, would it be like, because that's how kids were getting busted, right? They're getting busted at school writing term papers.
But in a situation like with her writing a retirement speech, what's someone going to be like, are you sure you didn't write that with ChatGPT? Like,
exactly.
It's not graded. It doesn't matter.
It's specific to me and my experiences with him. So, I mean, like, you wouldn't have that same thing with that person. So I just think it, depending on the context, but like, I think lawyers have been busted using it to like write briefings and stuff. Like, I don't think you can necessarily do that.
Of course.
It's funny you say that, because when I think of like, when the smart ass thought was, you don't like it, learn to code, that kind of shit. When it's like, oh yeah, well, your job's fucked more than anyone's, dipshit. Like, learn to code is hilarious. Right. As if, my brother-in-law, like him sitting packing away coding something, like AI is going to dominate that field. And I keep thinking like, dude, you think I want to, like, if I get in some shit for something, I want to go to a lawyer. Like, I'll take AI defense. I'll take the guy that in half a second can go through literally every fucking case in the history of the world, and put together my defense. I'll take that attorney.
Yeah,
I'm not going to have some clown up there in his suit presenting my case. Like, who's going to use a lawyer in 10 years? 5 years? I mean, they're going to dial it in more and more, and it's like, you really want to go with this guy who you hope didn't get hammered on Saturday night and was buried in books and precedent. He was looking through all the precedents and cases like this. Right. Like, nah, I'll take attorney AI. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
that's an interesting concept.
And if you think of like Goodwill Hunting, like when he's going in there and it's like, he's got that photographic memory and a history background. And he's able to go, well, in 1792, that's what AI lawyer would do. It's like having Goodwill Hunting every time you go into
court.
All
you have to do, Mike, is you just sit at your desk and you hook up your screen. And then once they start talking, you hit the record button. Yeah. AI will hear everything that's been said. Then you hit stop record and then say, excuse me, my attorney will be ready in about a minute. And then they'll just shoot out a response.
And bury you. What do you do when you have AI prosecutors going against AI defense attorneys?
Have you seen the video?
It's just like a smoke in the courtroom as they just fry each other.
Have you ever seen videos? They have videos that people do on YouTube of AI talking, like ChatGPT having conversations with ChatGPT and stuff like that.
And they start talking their own language.
Yes.
It's fucked up. It's like, oh, you're a bot? I'm a bot. Fuck these humans.
Right. Yeah.
Talking a language they don't understand.
One of the scariest stories of the year was like the new what are they on? ChatGPT 4?
I don't know.
Are they on
I don't know.
GPT 3 or 4? And when it was in development, they noticed that ChatGPT 1 was like changing its code. Was like, oh man, the new guy's coming in. They're not going to need me no more.
Fuck that guy.
And ChatGPT's like trying to sabotage and start shit and change his programming. Like, dude, if you don't think we're walking right in to like being dominated, like it knew, oh man, the new guy's going to be better than me.
Yeah,
I'm not going away without a fight.
Wait till they find out they can team up together to take us all down.
Yeah. Dude, we literally made Terminator 2.
Yeah.
You just gotta hope that we're all, no offense, we're all kind of older enough that we might be okay. We might be safe. Mike,
I'm on my way out. I don't care. I'm here for the fireworks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the youngest one, so I've got, the longest to live out of all of us.
Right.
Yeah. You're in good health too. Like I'm in pretty lousy health and I'm old. Like this is hilarious.
So you'll be fine though then. You won't have to deal with all this consequences.
Well, it's interesting. I was reading this story today. Do you know the one about this Ole Miss college freshman at the center of this vile internet rumor? Got traction back in February. It was picked up by Pat McAfee.
Her boyfriend she slept with her boyfriend's dad.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Sounds like a movie I've seen before.
What's that?
Sounds like a movie I've seen on the internet before. But
yeah.
The whole category of them. There's a whole category.
There's a whole category for that.
Yeah, it's a porn category for sure.
No, that's great. So she slept with her boyfriend's dad, huh?
That was the story.
Yeah, okay. She didn't. I mean, as far as we know.
Okay.
But she's saying the fallout and the gossip is ruining her life. 18-year-old Mary Kate Cornett told The Athletic she wants people to be held accountable for what they've done and giving life to an unfounded rumor that she slept with her boyfriend's dad. You're ruining my life by talking about it on your show for nothing but attention. But here I am staying up till 5 a.m. every night, throwing up, not eating because I'm so anxious about what's going to happen for the rest of my life. She's plotting legal action against ESPN and others for spreading the rumor. Antonio Brown, KFC Barstool have also come under fire for public mentions of the story. I don't know if they'll mention
she's got
us.
A case. If it's really not true and somehow all those people covered that story, like imagine that you're just this normal person and you're just living your life and all of a sudden you hit the right wave and Pat McAfee is talking about how you slept with your boyfriend's dad on national television.
Yeah, dude, this is going to get so much worse. I think for her,
it's going to have to get to a point where everyone just realizes that you cannot trust any of this shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so much when you're putting a show together, you're looking for content to talk about. Like my thought is always like, okay, let me set the table with what the story is. And then hopefully the room elaborates on shit in their own personal life. And, I've got stories, Amy's got stories, E's got stories, and boom, you're off and running. And it's just kind of a table setter. I don't care what this girl's name is. I don't care, So there's a couple things at play here. When these stories come out or are online, like it used to just be you had your local papers, you had a couple national papers in USA Today, you had magazines, you didn't have social media. And so if it was vetted through, even the National Enquirer, it was fair grounds. Well, now you have a situation where everybody's life, anything anybody wants to say is public fodder.
Of course.
You could say anything you want about anybody. And,
and then it's out there. That's the thing. It's technically
out there.
And when you talk about when it used to be like the idea of like proven, innocent until proven guilty, when it comes to some of these, and you talk about these AI videos and the freaking video that Amy's friend or client did rapping and stuff, you could have had him say terrible things, throw it out there. And it's like, it's now become like the person that's being somewhat accused, like this girl, it's like on her end to prove
that you didn't do that.
Right.
Prove you didn't do it.
And so think about that. Now she has to go out there and I did not sleep with this guy's dad. And it's like, especially if it didn't happen. Oh
she's
my
just
God.
like this young chick and, she's going to apply for jobs and people Google her and that's what they're going to see. I mean, that sucks. But I suppose if Pat McAfee were to say, well, gee, I didn't defame her because I thought it was true at the time. I mean, maybe that could be a defense, but
that will be the defense. But
I just think a normal person like that, and that just blows up. I mean, how mortifying! I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah,
how horrible that would be.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. I don't know what you do when someone starts a rumor, right? False. It used to not leave your community. Like it was there. And the worst possible scenario is the parents go, fuck it, we're moving a block, you're going to a different school. Now it's national, if not international news. and discussion, like how, and when you talk about being 30 years behind in revenge porn type stuff, like in how you combat that. How do you combat a world where some guy's dating a girl in high school, they break up, he's crushed, and goes on a personal mission to destroy her, or she does him on social media? Like that kid used to just be it just used to be a scorned lover in your town. And it was like, stay away from Fred. He can't get over Sally. Jesus Christ.
And the thing that got you through was knowing you were out of there at 17 or 18. You didn't have to see any of those people again if you didn't want to. That was what got me through my scandal, was because it happened when I was a senior, and I was like, I'm out of here in a few months. Fuck all these people. Once it's on the internet, oh my God.
And the fact is, I know you guys have seen this or things similar to it, when people will be like, they'll post something like, people will fight about anything. Here's proof. Check out my glass of water, or something like that. And the first comment will come in and go, that's not a glass, it's a cup.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And then you just go through, and it turns into a comedy bit of, here's a half glass full of water. You get my point. And so there's something in us as humans that love to nose into this business, where it's like, instead of an immediate reaction of like, oh my God, that's horrible, I feel terrible for this 18-year-old girl, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, how do you know she didn't fucking bang that? Like, and I'm guilty of it too. That's what's going to happen. You're going to get a million comments. How do you police that though? I think one of the ways you police it is to just go, okay, we're living in an era where that fucking devastating, oh my God, everyone's looking at me news is relevant for 12 hours and then it's fucking gone.
Right.
It's like, that's just the way it is. And so it's very hard for people who are not in sort of a public space where they're used to having strangers comment on their existence. Like Esus knows how to deal with this. Esus has had enough people in public who don't know him go, fucking retard. Like, they've said the most hurtful, hateful, shitty things to Esus. It's water off a idiot retard's back at this point. He's been there. But if you're this girl, and you got to think, hot 18-year-old girl, any comment she gets from anybody has probably been positive her whole life. That's probably her reality. And now, you know what I mean? Like, that's,
because no matter how hot you are, someone will say something horrible. No matter how hot you are.
Like what? Give me an example. Like, because I'm sure you've gotten it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I had that scandal, I mean, people were so mean, like, just, calling me all the words, and, people, they just attack your appearance, and you can just be as hot as can be. And you're like, you've got all these boyfriends in high school, and then someone's telling you, you're an ugly piece of shit. And you're like, am I though? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like I am. So people will just be mean just to be mean because people don't like you. So, that would be horrible. I feel so bad for her.
This story goes on. So she slammed McAfee and others in a statement shared on a GoFundMe page organized by her dad, Justin, with all the proceeds to be used to provide seed capital, establishing a foundation focused on helping innocent victims of similar defamatory cyber attacks. I've been the victim of deliberate and coordinated cyber attacks. Irresponsible, independent social media influencers with apparent ties to Barstool and even major public figures like Antonio Brown, Pat McAfee have shared these utter and complete lies with zero interest in the truth, but instead spreading outlandish conjecture. No one affiliated with these organizations ever reached out, blah, 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 goes on and on.
What was Pat McAfee talking about this? I hate to say, I don't hate Pat McAfee, but why did this come up? Is he a star basketball?
Pop culture stuff. No, he just talks pop culture stuff.
Okay, I didn't realize.
I can't imagine. Often, but here's what I know: Pat McAfee would never go on the air and be like, "What a whore," and like believe it like it's fact and slut shame some 18-year-old girl. That's not.
So I mean, he was. I remember it. I mean, he was.
You do?
Yeah, he was like, kind of like. So there's this chick, and people are saying that she slept, and so he's just kind of covering the story that's out there, not necessarily saying like this is 100% true, but just kind of saying like, wow, this story is out there going around, and Antonio Brown tweeted about it and whatever.
Well, her dad expanded on this helplessness, so she goes on, many people are telling me to take my own life. It's a common one too. If you
Yep.
People are going to tell you,
Big
I don't know why that is, the kill yourself one. That seems super. It's when you look for commonality in all these stories, that is one of the things people are going to say to you.
Could you fathom saying that to somebody?
No, I can't.
Even if it was true, let's fucking say it was true.
Yeah.
Let's say she did sleep with his dad, her boyfriend. Still, kill yourself.
Kill yourself.
Horrible things. It's not technically like it's not the biggest crime on the planet.
Yeah.
Technically, right.
Justin expanded on the helplessness he felt. The only way I could describe it is this is her dad. Like you're walking with your daughter on the street, holding her hand in a car mirror, snags her shirt and starts dragging her down the road. All you can do is watch. You can't catch the car. You can't stop it from happening. You just have to sit there and watch your kid get destroyed. These folks can say whatever they want, destroy a young girl's life forever. They don't think it matters because they don't know who I am and they think I deserve it, but I don't. The GoFundMe raised over 26. Here's the problem for the dad. I think if you're the dad, you're creating the Streisand effect by launching a GoFundMe, by giving quotes to the Atlantic, instead of just moving on. This is a story from February. Yeah. I never even heard it. This would not popular. Be. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not running in a lot of those circles of pop culture stuff usually. I never even heard it. Talking about it now, but I think like this is what we're going to have to do as people. Like, you're only furthering the narrative by even giving breath to this. And so I know what you're saying, Amy,
defend yourself.
But when it gets into the public realm, when you start filing lawsuits, I don't know. I don't know that there's a perfect answer for this, but for the dad, you might be better served to be like, let's play this out and just hope that this is gone in a couple days.
No, but listen, as somebody who experienced something very traumatic and contemplated lawsuits and all of that, I just wanted it to go away. So I get it. I get that thing, but that was on a very small level. That was just in my little town. Had it gone viral, international, I would have been, first of all, mortified. I don't know that I honestly don't know. It was so horrible on a local level. I can only imagine what she was going through. It would be, I would have
Is
to
it any
come
worse though on a local level? Like
100%.
I don't know that whether it's national, statewide, national, or international, does it really matter? When all it really takes, really more so than locally?
The amount of messages,
dude. When you're that age, I would think that would just get thrown in the cluster and be gone. Once you get past 100 messages in your local town, what's the difference?
No,
like you're still destroyed.
It would be horrible for that to go international. And then you have to think like, okay, so this is out there. You're thinking of potential employers. They're Googling you and then they don't see any response from you. You're just silent. And so this story is just out there about you. And there's no statement of you going, this is categorically false. I'm going to sue them. Like at least then if you're an employer or if you're and you're going, okay, well, I guess this didn't happen. And this actually seems like a really terrible situation, so otherwise that's just out there unchecked. And that's unfair to her.
That's a fair point about a lawsuit does at least give you, if you continue down the road of social media, it's like, well, at least that part of the story is out there that you fought back. It doesn't
even necessarily have to be a lawsuit, but a statement for sure. And I mean, a lawsuit, it depends who it is. Like you're not going to get, I wasn't going to get anything out of the kid that did this to me in high school, but she might be able to get a few bucks out of Barstool and Disney. Because Pat McAfee works for ESPN. So like they might just settle it to just make it go away. So I guess it depends who you're up against and what kind of money you can get. But yeah, I mean,
actually they probably will to make it.
Yeah, just make it go away.
Donate to the GoFundMe.
It would look really bad, and it does look really bad, right? Like
you
got Pat McAfee up there in the end. It's a non-true story.
What do you think about Pat McAfee doing the story, though? Because these stories are landing on people's Facebooks, and then it becomes content on a show. Like, what do you do when everybody's posting their public life, whether it's true or false? How do you hold, like, when it gets to a point where it reaches a host's desk and it's like, oh, that could spin into a good, I wonder if anyone else has been through this, you know, like conversation piece.
It's kind of
like,
what
do you do?
I think when Landau was on the show, we were talking about how Crowder was deposed because they posted the wrong picture of a school shooter. And he was like, well, it landed on my desk. I just assumed, you know, all the researchers did what they had to do. And I was just kind of, you know, we've got great researchers. And by the time it hit my desk, I just put it out there.
Well, I guess the answer would be, though, Mac, you know, like there's like anything. If you're the head of something, it all lands with you. And if he doesn't have people that are doing their job, he's the face. He's the one who makes the big money. And it's on him that something got through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think he could also say, well, gee, I thought it was true. I mean, everything out. It's not like her statement was out there and he, you know, was going on there saying, I know this to be true. You know, he wasn't saying that or anything. I think that she might, you know, get 10 grand or 20 grand or something that, you know, donated to her, her fund or whatever.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And I don't know what that's going to do. Like, that just sounds like it's going to turn into another grift
I was actually
somewhere.
going to rip on them for that. Cause I feel like everybody takes advantage of situations to get to do a GoFundMe. However, that being said, to harken back to what we were talking about how laws are 30 years behind, this is a relatively new phenomenon that's happening. And the way that things happen are these organizations get started, these nonprofits who do this work and lobby on the behalf of the people who have been aggrieved in this way. So, you know, I do give her credit for wanting to do that because, you know, something bad happened to her and she's like, no, I'm going to do something about this. So I don't totally hate it. Like, I don't hate it as much as like, you know, like when someone randomly dies and like, it's somebody that presumably should have life insurance and like worked a full career. I'm like, why am I donating to a GoFundMe for a funeral? Like, what's happening here? You know?
Yeah. No, it's the fear of the cause becomes the business, becomes the, you know, and that's where so many of these go. Like, if you think it through, like, okay, these people in wherever USA start a thing to help with, like, so what? Next time some girl gets revenge porn, what? You've got a stash of money here to help them with their defense? Like, no, they'll just start a GoFundMe over there, and like, I just don't.
Not everyone has that ability. I don't know. You just had maybe that is what they would do though for someone who maybe doesn't have the ability to get out there or something. Maybe they find stories. Maybe they go look for stories like that and defend people.
It's really hard to do that. I know, and maybe things have changed, but our CDs on the Drew and Mike show were set up to be able to donate to first responders, like wounded in action, that kind of stuff. We had known some firefighters in Detroit. One was in a wheelchair for life. And a lot of times donating money became a lot of red tape. There was a lot of red tape involved. Yeah. And so I remember at the time how much trouble Drew specifically and Mike to a lesser degree, and Mike Novak really went through to set up the proceeds from that so that Drew could literally just write a check. Drew and Mike could write a check.
Yeah, they decided this person was worthy, and here you go.
Right. This guy needs 10 grand because the mortgage is due, groceries need to be bought. Boom. Dad is in the hospital. Here you go. But there was a lot of work that went into setting something up so that you could do that. That was not easy. Legally, it wasn't easy. I don't remember the finer details. You're going back many years now. But one thing that always stuck out with me was like, yeah, it's not so easy to just have a fund and give money away. Right. The system's not. So the idea that these people are just going to like prop up a GoFundMe, and I don't know, maybe it's gotten easier, but I don't know what we do as a society. We're going to have to figure out how we deal with this when you go from small instances and everybody has a story of that girl that You know, Amy and I, we talked about it that day where it was like that girl that the whole football team, blah, blah, blah. And there was a carrot involved. Like every student graduating class has that story, you know, whether they were bullshit or real. You know, what do you do when you have 20 of them in graduating classes? What do you do when you have fake AI photos generated of every one of your classmates nude? Like, I don't know what you do with this.
Yeah.
And what do you do if hosts around the country are talking about these stories that are popping up? Like,
right.
Yeah, it's definitely tough.
Drag them all to court. I don't know.
This doesn't quite have to do with this, but I will tell you, it's such a weird line because I know you're right. Like you spent so many times years on a Drew and Mike show, us on TDC. You talk about these stories and they're funny and it's fun to sit there and go like, oh, you know, speculation and
run wild.
But on the same hand, an example in the last, I guess, year that got to me, I think Amy and I talked about it, was like the Hawk Tua girl, right? That got so famous so fast. And she says the line, it goes viral, and then now she's doing whatever she's doing. And the thing that's
scamming
so
people.
annoying to me with the general population, like I don't even know how to almost word this, but it's like I wish people could do a show like we're doing a show right now, but we're doing something. You're producing a real show. You've been going for 12, 13 years now. You know, you're not just some guy in the street. But when she got popular, everyone turned her into a meme, right? Everybody was making memes about her, this and that. And then she monetizes it mildly. She starts doing a podcast. She said, and then people, her 15 minutes are up. Tell this girl to get the fuck out of here. No one wants you. Blah, blah. You all created her.
Yeah.
Like she didn't create herself. She
Right.
the line. These people made memes of her, and were laughing and making and blah, blah, blah. And then she does one little thing where she starts, well, I guess I'm going to start doing stuff with it.
Yeah, capitalize on it.
Get the fuck out of here, you fucking bitch. You know, slut shaming and fucking name calling. And I'm like, but you created her.
Right.
You would do the exact same thing yourself. And I know this isn't quite where you're going with that girl. But it's an annoyance I have with the general world population of like, I'm not saying we can't make fun of people, but on the same hand, like you create someone to go viral and then you get mad when they do what you would do with it. Like I thought that was such bullshit. I know that was kind of a rant.
What was it? The meme coin?
I don't even know. I don't know what happened
to a coin.
Yeah.
And imagine buying that.
Yeah.
Anyone who bought it, it's your own fault for one, by the way.
Yeah. I agree. If you like that, you know, but I don't know enough about that story, but I have watched some stuff and it sounds like, and I could be wrong, Amy, you might know more about it, but she was more innocent in that. Like they started a meme coin and thought she kind of was just kind of like, okay, we can get.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen, do you think the Hawk Tua chick knows about crypto?
No.
I mean,
wouldn't.
No. They were like, hey.
Took advantage.
They totally took advantage.
Yeah.
Totally took advantage of her. But I mean, also, you got to, make smart business decisions. Well, and I just feel like really a hack to it. Do an OnlyFans. That's your path.
Yeah, I know. She kept saying she wasn't going to do that. I whatever. But like, for example, on our show alone, Mike, there was a time I remember very specifically where I brought up a friend of mine in his life and I stupidly actually said his name. And then there was a time I was in San Francisco and mentioned the girl I went on a Tinder date with. And now people are mentioning her. So I stopped saying names on the show, for example, just on what we were doing. Yeah. And it's like nothing against it. I love listeners. I love that people listen to things or engage on social media. But I think it's so weird. You talk about when COVID was going on, how you'd get all mad about people tattling on people. Well, people fucking do that all with these social media fucking things too, where they build people up.
No,
and the second they do something with it, then they fucking tear them down as if they're the worst person of all time. And it's like,
generating a world of narcs is something that I cannot kind of wrap my head around. This idea of someone said something that disagrees with me politically, they'll never work again. Like that attitude of like, ew, you're so gross. Like you want to be a professional career ender. What the fuck is so broken about you? But dude, that's generational.
I know.
It's almost like a puzzle in a game. Like look what I'm able to do with my computer skills. I'm able to track down, and it's almost like a game. Like I'm finding out where they work through this clue and that clue. And then I found out that they're connected to this person, and let me reach out to them. And it's almost like the payoff, the final boss is getting them canceled on some level, or getting that letter from the company going, we have decided to part ways with Bill Mahalski because we won't tolerate this kind of behavior. It's just weird. That's a weird thing that we haven't. I don't know.
I've told Amy this. Were you going to say something, Amy? I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was just going to say quickly that I think we got to a point where we stopped discouraging tattletaling.
Yeah.
Like I specifically remember growing up, if you ran and tattletaled on your friend or your cousin or your sister, your parents were like, stop tattletaling. You don't tell on people. That's not what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Suck it up. But we've switched to, I think it's encouraged now.
Yeah.
Like, no, you need to tattletale on people. And then they grow into these horrible, and it's like, oh, well, I need to let her employer know that she's tweeting conservative views. And I don't like that, like.
Well, I think in general, to me, I kind of talked with this Amy a little talked with Amy about this a little bit recently, but like, I know this sounds so naive, Mike, and so corny, but I really have gone to a point where I despise the idea of commenting on YouTube videos, commenting on stuff in such a negative way. I'm not talking about actual ball busting. I'm not talking about, really jokes between people. I'm talking people being just assholes on social media and stuff. And I think of like, a lot of times there's pictures of Hack Tuager would fall into this, but pictures of some drunk girl out of a bar and some guys asking, we're in Nashville and I'm asking drunk girls how many guys they've banged or whatever. And then inevitably you'll see 20 guys on there like, I bet her dad's proud. Dude, these are the same girls you're trying to bone when you're that age. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I just think it's such a ridiculous. Her dad must be. You mean because she's being young and drunk like you were? You had a camera on your face in 1980?
That shame society. Like I loved when we sent you to Florida and you're asking old people if they've done anal and stuff on the beach. But there's nothing malicious like, oh, well, I got to track down their children and grandchildren and let them know
your daughter is down in
video. Do you know what your grandparents said on the beach in Florida? Like, no, man. Like, no, I don't get that at all. I can't imagine. There's like some levels of it. I have enjoyed watching videos of some dipshit gets out of his work van and keys a Tesla. And and he, as he drives away, the fucking company's number is on there and people go on the hunt and try. If you're going to break the law and be that big of an asshole, and
those are totally different. That's like, unrelated to me.
That's technically being a narc too. It's like, hey man, what are you, a cop doing their job for them? Like, but that to me is
you're
like,
allowed to report crimes though.
You're destroying other people's property. I don't give a shit if they locate your boss and get you fired. But the ones you're talking about, Esus, like interviewing drunk girls and I bet her dad's proud. Her dad is Bill so-and-so.
Let's call him. Tell him what his daughter said.
Let's email him and let him know what his daughter said. Like that shit.
And these are the same guys. I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to be like a beta male, but these are the guys that who were they looking for at that age? When they were going to Nashville in their 20s, were they looking for a girl who wasn't having beers and yelling about how, I want to get laid tonight or some shit?
Like, hell yeah.
It's like, dude,
or it's
these
like,
are the girls
I was just going to say, it's like when, a business gets embroiled in some kind of scandal and then everyone goes there and gives 1-star reviews.
Yeah.
And just totally like tanks their
drives me nuts.
Business. It's like, for what?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this?
It seems so disingenuous too, because it's like, so you're telling me that a restaurant sucks and is 1-star that you've never been to.
Right.
No. For people that want to go there for their food and you're hoping that the staff is courteous, you're doing a giant disservice to the rest of us. But when you go on there because of your political views don't align with something a fucking cook said on the,
I can tell you,
like that part I don't get at all. It's sort of to your point, Esus, there, but before the grace of God go I, because the fact is, anybody my age, your age, to a lesser degree, Amy's age, I literally once a week think like, thank fuck there was not an iPhone in our orbit. Like when Troy and I would tell stories, or Jay and I, about our, like, you wouldn't have believed how out of control, irresponsible, reckless as fuck we were. Absolute monsters. Most of you wouldn't relate to the level of stupidity, drunkenness that we engaged in. Like, it's not a joke. It's not overblown. We were absolute menaces. We didn't hurt anybody else, but we were fucked up round the clock for years. Okay?
Right. And imagine if someone just threw that out there.
If there was video camera footage of any single one of those nights, you wouldn't be employable. You wouldn't be. So even if you were like a weekend warrior, a couple times a year, we blew the line. No, every fucking day we were that guy. We were terrible. And it's like, thank God those videos of me drunk at a party hitting on a fucking hot chick don't exist. Yeah. Like, we should all have the grace to stumble through our childhood, our early years of figuring out how to get comfortable talking to a girl for the first time. You know, Esus, you'll get there one day.
I'm going to say, like, fingers crossed one of these days, but
yeah. But like these kids, and maybe we're looking at it wrong, and you go, no, every one of them is having this played out publicly, so none of them are going to feel the shame because they all have it.
It doesn't seem to happen. It seems like humans still have that feeling.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I agree with you right now.
Right. I gotta say one other thing is, and this is borderline a grievance. I'll admit this, and it's what it is.
All right, let's go.
That has come to me as I'm talking, and I'm very aware I'm going on a rant. I'm not here that often, so you have to bear with me on this one.
Bonus Esus grievance.
I am so what is with losers? I'm going to call them losers. I know it sounds. I'm not trying to say we can only say nice things about people. I understand you can. You know, you and me can sit here together and say, like, oh, what do you think of the new so-and-so album? I don't care for it. Fine. But like, I've just spent this weekend watching Ultra live streams of Ultra Music Festival down in Miami. And the amount
it took an hour and 31 minutes.
The amount of losers that sit on comment threads and go, well, Armin van Buuren used to play trance. This isn't trance. No, this is still good. No, I like this song. Like, he did a remix of a 50 Cent song, and the amount of people like, it's clear Armin doesn't even like music anymore. I'm like, what are you fucking doing? He's playing for 50,000 people at a festival, and he's significantly more successful than you. Anyway, my grievance is generally just say positive things or get the fuck out. We don't need
this used to end up. You probably don't even remember this, but when I was growing up, this would be in like letters to the editor. Yeah. And at the end, on one page in the paper, there'd be like, yeah, I don't think it was that good. There'd be some biddy bitching about, you know, I was at the
Pine Knob this weekend and so sucked.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
And so there was something even in my generation where it was like, oh, I can't wait to read letters to the editor, People Magazine, letters to the editor. Dude, it was just like a mini, tiny comment section that was curated. So
now everyone can do it.
Now everybody. And nobody really is important. None of us are. And so it's like, that's how you get your bona fides. I gave them my 2 cents. And
it's just always this argument of someone used to be good. Something used to be good. And now it's not good. And I know what's good. It's like,
oh, you mean like this show when it used to be funny? Yeah. This show used to be entertaining. Yeah, dude.
Everything used to be better. Ever, all the time, whether it was 5 minutes ago or 500 years ago, apparently.
Oh, dude, the amount of times this show was good with Jay. This show was good when Esus was there. Like, dude,
they should listen to some of those Jay episodes. But
yeah,
listen to the amount of talking between people and see how good they were at times.
Yeah, dude.
Sorry,
that's
Mike.
The reality. No, dude, believe me. We all have glorified recall of stuff. That's just the way it is, where it's like the more time passes, it's like you think of that relationship that is just awful. And I've had some. Maybe you have, Amy. Probably not you, E, but you've had relationships where it's like, this is so toxic. This is just bad. I'm with this girl because she's fucking hot and that's it. And this person is not a fit for me at all. And you stick with it longer than you should. I can't remember where I was going with that, but
I think you're just trying to tell us about these hot chick relationships from the past.
Yeah. or not even hot chick. I can't remember what my point was. I had a larger point, but anyway.
No, it was probably that after the relationship ended, at some point, if you're not with somebody maybe, and you're like, fuck, that was actually, maybe it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, you think back and it's like, oh man, and you start thinking of only the good times, like, wow, the way she did that thing with her hand and her tongue was kind of fucking dope. And
when I'd go like this on her shoulder.
Yeah. Believe me, there were some redeeming qualities about all of our toxic relationships.
For sure.
There all were like, you know what, I got to admit, she was a blast to go have beers
at
with.
some point we were voluntarily in that relationship.
Right,
but
right.
I mean, like, there was one redeeming quality at least.
And you don't like 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, you don't hearken back to, oh my God, thank God I got out of that. Like, if I had to wake up one more morning and listen to that fucking idiot wake up in the morning and in a shitty mood and rant, like, I couldn't, like, no, you think of the fucking amazing blowjobs, or you think of the amazing fucking nights at the pool hall, whatever you did.
Nice.
Like, we have this glorious recall about all those things.
And that's even okay to me. There's nothing wrong. Like, I'll only bring up electric music one more time.
Hold on, Esus. Let me wrap that up. Which is how they get there. Like, I used to like it when so-and-so was on, or when so-and-so did this. And they have glorious recall of the funniest moments, the funniest things. And, if you weren't sitting in the room with Esus and I, you wouldn't remember the fucking miserable times we had too, which were fucking plenty. When E and I would look at each other and just be like, I can't fucking do this, dude.
Right.
Like Esus and I, like, plenty of times. So I get it.
I'll bring one more example into it. Just like, I went to this big festival this summer, and it was literally the coolest thing I've almost ever done in my life. Just today, before Mike got on here, I still watch clips from full sets, all this shit. And you will get the amount of people that you'll get. It was better 10 years ago, and it's better this. Well, it was fucking amazing for me. Is that okay? Am I allowed to like this? Like, because you thought it was better 10 years ago.
Yeah. That's always the way it is. I don't know what it is inherent, like, in humans that we do that.
And there's nothing wrong with like, again, to me, there'd be nothing like, I've had a thing with NASCAR where I love hate with that and stuff. There's nothing wrong amongst friends to me. If you're in the same room and you're having general discussions, we're the bad boy Pistons better than the 04 Pistons. Like, if it's just amongst us, I think that's fine. When you're doing it on the internet and fighting strangers in the comment section, you're a fucking loser. I'm sorry. Anyway, I comment fair, like, not frequent enough. I should engage more, but I don't think I've ever gone. You're in the thing, though.
Yeah. And if
you're
it's directly
right.
I don't think I've ever gone to, like, there's things that I like. I can watch. I've been talking about watching. There's YouTube is so great for old documentaries about bands that I liked and all kinds of behind the scenes stuff. And it's like, you can't possibly see it all when it happened. And so now it's like, holy shit, look at all this behind the scenes Alice in Chains stuff that I had no idea was going on in 92. Yeah. And I'm watching now. I've never made a comment on one of those.
Never.
Or like, this is when the band was actually good. Like, I've never once felt
back when life was good and we could have a goddamn beer at 10 or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
I've never, so that's something I like. I don't want any part of that, but I also think in fairness to those people, and maybe you do know where I'm going, having an outlet like this is huge. If we didn't have an outlet to come on here and be a live comment section about everything in life, maybe we'd be the most, because
obnoxious.
Maybe we'd be the most obnoxious of all.
Yeah.
It's very true.
You know what I mean?
And honestly, the people who post those videos, they don't give a fuck what you're commenting, because the comments just move it up the algorithm anyway.
Yeah, I know.
So comment away, comment your dumb shit.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with that, but being ratioed sucks. Being ratioed. When I post a Mike Massey thing and just get fucking ratioed on my own post,
Oh my
it's
God,
like,
Mike,
Jesus
I
Christ.
almost texted you this and I didn't. I almost, in fact, to the point that it was in my notebooks, had a written out response to Bryce's thing. Like, what's the big deal about all this? Mike seems like a good guy.
Yeah.
I had a written out response in my notes and I was going to comment. I thought,
well,
you know what, dude, I was actually on the show. I probably shouldn't, this and that. And then I actually listened to that show that night. I was curious, and then sure enough, you brought it up, and I was so glad I didn't hit send. I'm so glad I didn't.
No, you should have, and you could have, because it had to be terribly confusing for Bryce to be like, what the fuck? If you only know Mike Massey, the musician, and someone you go on stage with and perform in front of people that really are there to see you and enjoy it, and you have no context for the incidents, if you will, that would be like blindsiding and like, what are these crazy people talking about? So I wrote him a very well thought out and crafted response like, no, you need to know a few things. If you're going to jump into this, this didn't come out of left field for no reason. And he was very appreciative of that. And in fact, I heard from Mike, because he was talking to me about maybe coming on, and I'm just like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know if you need anything, if you and Amy want a lawyer to talk about this, or you want to talk about other stories. He wrote me and was just like, yeah, I guess that idea is not going to work with your audience. I'm like, yeah, probably for the best, dude. Just like, no.
Do you have any interest in me reading this to you or no? It's about 5 paragraphs, so I don't have to.
Paragraphs.
Yeah.
You can read it. What were you going to say first, Amy?
Go ahead.
I was going to say that Mike Massey, I am going to put this out to you if you ever hear this. Let's put our political beliefs aside and let's have an in-depth conversation about Karen Reed and all of the crazy things that are going on in that trial, because I am like dying to talk in depth with a lawyer about this.
Yeah.
Because I'm just so interested in. So Mike Massey, this from MAGA Barbie to you, let's put our differences aside and let's talk.
We can absolutely do that. We can do that. And I don't care if people bitch about it. I'm not afraid to talk to anybody.
No, I know you aren't.
At any time. Like, I don't care. I mean, the amount of people that told me never to have Esus on, I never listen to them either.
Exactly.
I don't care.
No, you're right.
You don't have to listen to the episode if you fucking hate something that's going on.
Yeah.
I've been honest with people from day one. I do what I think is interesting, and I hope people come along with me. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't
that episode,
do it for other
listen.
people. I don't have people on to piss people off. I don't have people on for any reason, but I think
to bump the meter or whatever.
I don't care about ratings. I don't care about numbers. I look at people coming on. It's like, you know what? That person can help create entertaining content for people to listen to. And I hope people come along with it. And if there's an episode, dude, there are plenty of shows that I listen to that I love that I go, not that episode, not for me. And I just skip it.
Totally.
I just bounce, man.
Totally.
Like, no big deal.
I don't hate them hate them for it.
No.
Not to just mention, I think I mentioned already twice in this episode, but so not to promote it that hardcore, but your interview with E-Rock that you had, he talked about how fans got to a point where like they didn't really want the celebrity guests, right? They wanted just the show. Yeah. And I always remember you saying that a lot of times when we would do our shows, like you like certain things, but mostly people are paying at that point, especially in the golden era, Mike, of Mike, you, me, and Jay, they were paying most of the time they're listening to hear us tell our wacky thoughts or our weird thoughts on the shit. And they may be like an interview here and there, but they want like the show to be the show.
Yeah.
And I am like that with a lot of stuff I listen to. A lot of stuff I listen and watch. When they do those episodes, I'm kind of like, not my episode.
I fast forward through all the stuff of Drew talking about music. I can't listen to it. I can't listen to it. It's just not my thing, not my kind of music.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean like I stop listening to Drew's show.
No. Dude, I was right there with the listeners and like, Drew and The Bachelor, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
And I'll say that to Drew's face. Like, dude, totally. I couldn't give a fuck less. But that's fine. I expect that there's certain things, and I know exactly what E-Rock was talking about. Like, we're doing a show, we're having fun, and then you got to stop because some fucking celebrity's coming in for 20 minutes. It's like,
right.
Oh man. Like I know that feeling, and like 100%. I know that as a listener too. If you're listening to some of those Opie and Anthony episodes and it's Anthony and Patrice O'Neill are going fucking hard on something hard. And it's like, oh, we're bringing the fucking cast of The Walking Dead in. It's like, no one gives a shit what these fucking people have to say.
Right.
Promoting their stupid TV shows. Get out of here.
A list of questions we can't ask them.
Yeah. These subjects are off limit. Yeah, no. I hated the 8-minute celebrity interviews or the pass through when they were in the building. Like some of them, if you're a fan of them, and they, a lot of them are celebrities for a reason. There's some entertainment there. But dude, I totally know that feeling.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what E-Rock was talking about when he said that too. 100%. I did not want those celebrities in that studio. It was like, get them out of here. Yeah. Get back. We only get 4 hours.
Right.
Let's hear
5
these
days
people.
A week.
Let's hear these people talk about.
Totally. More often 5 hours. It seemed like, but not that I'm complaining. But
Let's hear your response.
You really don't have to. I just
I want to hear it.
Okay, if I'm going to do it, certainly feel free to judge how professional you may or may not think this was.
Okay.
I wish Frank Caliendo was here to read it.
Oh my God. Yeah. So this is what I had. I said
too much time.
Right. And so I'm like, Bryce. I'm like, so my take on this. So my take on this is I absolutely agree with you. 2 wrongs don't equal a right. I don't agree with the name calling. I'd rather people just, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. But life is not perfect and actions do have consequences, is what I said. The way he talked about politics and how very, very harsh he was to anyone who disagreed with him was very unfortunate. It was not just one post or one small back and forth. It was made perfectly clear that anyone that did not support his side was an absolute bad person. He was given a chance on the show to at least apologize or say, hey, look, we disagree. Obviously, I know you're good people. That did not happen. Nothing like things. Sorry, it's so weird reading this like this.
Yeah.
Nothing like things got emotional. And although I strongly disagree, I'm sorry, for giving into the name calling. People that listen to this podcast were more than gracious to him, giving him an audience in Michigan that led to him coming back several times. People who may live paycheck to paycheck passed around a bucket to raise money for his family. It just seemed almost hypocritical to accept all this money and benefit while seemingly despising the people that made it possible. Personally, I don't let politics stop me from enjoying an artist as I don't see the point. I agree, and honestly, I'm very sure that Mike is a good person, as you say. I really do, but the way he treated and talked to the listeners of the podcast was absolutely uncalled for. And as I said, life actions do have consequences. So that's what I had.
Wow.
Yeah. Very well done, Esus.
It was hard to read. I have a hard time reading out loud.
I'm proud mom right now.
Yeah. You'd be proud of my statement to Bryce too, which was hit a lot of the similar points. Like,
kind of similar.
We both touched on a couple things in that. No, it was super offensive, specifically the people he was dealing with.
Right.
Like he went so hard on them, like as if he knew them, and he was wrong. He was wrong. These were very good people, kind-hearted people that, it was really unfair and so emotional. And you'd expect more from a litigator. It's like, it's one of the things Jay able to stay in the pocket and fight with you, Esus. And it was like, you're seeing a trained litigator who's not going to be emotionally riled up in a situation that's getting heated. It's very hard to do. It takes school to do that, to learn how to debate properly, to stay calm. And you expect a lawyer of all people to be able to keep those emotions in check. And it was like, oh my God, this was his like rantish female emotions out of control.
Yeah.
And like, even with time and a table setter to go, hey, let's take it down.
And that's my point. He had an interview after all this.
Right.
You guys, I actually heard you and Amy talk about that time, because I think Amy was on that one you talked about. And you kind of didn't remember exactly maybe how it went down or who was there and whatnot. But I don't remember it perfectly either. But what I do remember is I think what Amy said. He had an absolute chance where he could have just sat there and said, swallowed his pride a little bit and say, look, I couldn't disagree with you guys more. Obviously that's the case. But of course, maybe it was just a little bit. I could have said, I shouldn't have been so mean to people that have been so nice.
I know
to me.
you're not bad people because of who you voted for. And that's what I can't get past is like, and by the way, Mike, I'll still put everything aside to talk about Karen Reed. But what I can't get past is, if you know two things, you know three things about people. One, they like your music and they come and they support your shows. Two, they passed a bucket around without knowing you to raise money for your
couple $1,000s too. It was thousands of dollars.
And that's why I will say, not to critique my own thing, but I very specifically put in their paycheck that these are not people
100%.
that are fucking.
That was a great
silver
point.
spoon people.
It wasn't $150.
Right.
No.
Right. Exactly. And the third thing you know about them is they voted for Donald Trump. So that's that's the three things you know about those people. And you're just saying you're a bad person because of who you voted for when the other two things that you know about them are very positive.
Unbelievably good. And it's not lost on me that event was not set up with a charity aspect in mind. That was completely spur of the moment.
Grassroots. When
we got there, Esus literally found a bucket. I don't remember how that went exactly. But that was not, we did not promote that as, hey, everyone's going to be there. Hopefully you guys hit the ATM and bring a few extra dollars.
No.
That was
night.
Completely done on the spot that night. I probably went up on the mic and said that to the crowd. And then the Costas, whoever, passed a bucket around and raised thousands of dollars that night in the bar. So that was just listeners pulling money out of their wallets and dropping it in there. Like,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's just crazy. And the ironic thing is, if Amy had done that to say a super liberal show, and then they gave her a chance to come back and apologize, blah, 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 those people would have fucking destroyed her still, even if she fell on the sword. The ironic part to me is, had Mike taken that opportunity that night on the show and just said, hey, emotions got the best of me. It's been a couple of years. Obviously, the world didn't fall apart when Donald Trump became president, and you guys are good. People would have sold his show out.
Yeah.
They would have forgiven him, and they would have just moved on. I know what it's like to get my emotions get the best of me. We've all been there.
That's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing. Just be a human, be an adult about it, you know?
I don't want to go too much more into it, but there was one period, I don't remember when it was, but definitely. But there was one time and place where I was actually I stayed out of that most of it, especially because I had an association with the show. I didn't feel like I wanted to step in, but one time I did for whatever reason. And all I remember about the back and forth that we ended up ending on, where one of us didn't get back, I think it was him that didn't get back. That doesn't mean I won or anything, but he was really hammering how bad the people were and how bad these people are. And I kept going back to, like, if you feel so strongly about this, why have you came back and made money off of it? Why are you profiting off of people that are such terrible people? If you're so high on your thought, why would you even take money from those people? Why not just say, I'd rather, and he would not answer that. I'm not trying to, I know he's not here to defend himself in this argument that we had on Facebook 4 years ago, but I remember that being a big thing that I kept hammering.
My guess is he would do things different. I'll be totally honest with you.
Amy said it the other day, and she doesn't think he would, and I don't either. I don't think he would. I'm sorry.
Maybe
he would, but I don't.
I'll be honest with you. This topic never came up when I was with him this last time. Like, the thing is, I wasn't here for that. So everything, I did what I could. I put a show together and said, bring all the relevant parties in and let's talk about it like adults. That was the extent of what I did.
You're right.
Because if you remember, I was out of town for 2 years when all that went down.
Correct.
So it was kind of
situation.
Like shocking in the time. Like, it was like, what the hell happened while I was gone? So I just kind of was like, okay, whatever. And, but it never came up. I didn't bring it up. He didn't bring it up when he was in town. And it was just like, whatever. Maybe it should have, and maybe I should have just addressed it more.
No, you did enough. You did enough. You gave him his chance. And, you know, and I think we've said it, but, like, you enjoy his music, that you can ignore his political bullshit. And if people don't want to listen to that show, then don't,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But you gave him the opportunity and he did what he did with it. And I don't think it needs to be brought up again with him unless he wants to bring it up.
The reason I think if you could do things differently, maybe you would, is you can't even understand how hard it is to get an audience in the hundreds to show up to support you.
Right.
When that's how you make a living, you don't just get a major market to turn 500 people out at a bar. That just doesn't happen. So when you play it out and you look at it, it's like, okay, maybe I've got an audience when I go to Utah because that's where the pizzeria video was. Right. Oh, my hometown in Colorado, it works there. I can go and and then maybe you've got a handful of markets. Maybe a radio station in Philadelphia played some of your shit and now they mention it and you can put people in a bar. Detroit was a new market where hundreds of people were willing to come out.
Gross.
Here's my options on a Friday night. I can go to the movie. I can go to dinner. I can go hang out with the kids. It's an event to go to an adult only bar, get a babysitter, get an Uber, plan to go to dinner beforehand or after and make a night of it. That's a lot. That's asking a lot of people. And boom, here this stupid podcast handed you hundreds of people who were absolutely willing to do that.
Sold out shows every time he came if he never got into it.
And unfortunately, one of the things I said to Bryce was like, hey, dude, to be honest with you, I don't know if I could get 50 people to show up at a bar in fucking Detroit to go support one of those shows.
Yeah.
That's the reality of the damage that was done there. I didn't cause that.
Yeah,
I didn't do that. So that's just, I'm put in this uncomfortable position as a fan of music. I love introducing, if I can find something, get it on and bring it to people and they connect with it and enjoy it too. Awesome. That's amazing. That should be an automatic fucking cash register once a year, once every couple of years, come through, bang, sold out.
And actually,
that's gone.
Much about this, but it's not even that he wasn't a Trump guy. It really is just that he attacked. If he just said, I'm kind of not for him, but whatever. I don't think anyone would go. It's that he literally attacked people.
Totally.
What I said, one of the things, you're hitting all the spots. One of the things I said to Bryce as well was, trust me when I say my audience probably disagrees politically with virtually everybody that is a performer for life. Okay. My audience doesn't care. They're fine. It was the disrespect that they went, fuck you. It wasn't a political view. These people are so used to being lectured to by Eddie Vedder and Bruce Springsteen and everyone else whose albums they've bought over the years. I've still gone and watched all those concerts and listened to some stuffy, rich asshole on stage talk down to me about what my president's doing to the country and just whatever. We're fine. That wasn't the problem. Yep. Those people are used to it and they would have still come out and supported. Yeah, that's not what it was about.
It's like he said, it's people who are living paycheck to paycheck who, sacrificed for you and supported you, and then you turned around and attacked them personally. You spit in their face. Yeah, to my opinion. When you attack personally. I mean, we can all handle political disputes for the most part.
100%.
People
100%.
Oh wow, he's much more successful than me. Who am I to fucking say anything?
Yeah,
right? He's out there touring the fucking country. I'm in my parents' my bedroom, my childhood bedroom, recording.
Hey, I just want to say that I am happy to hear. I've heard from a few people that I have gotten them onto the Karen Reed case, and that they've watched documentaries, and that they're all in to watch the second trial.
When is it? When does it start?
Thrilled. So jury selection started today.
Okay.
They think it's going to take 3 weeks to pick a jury.
Jesus, this is OJ all over again.
They interviewed 92 jurors today, and they ended up with 2.
Wow. Yeah, there's so much attention on it. It's going to be hard to.
And
are they going to move it? Are they going to move the trial?
No.
Wow.
I mean, they've already called jurors in, so they're in for it at this point. But I don't know if we've talked about this yet, but there was a juror. One of the jurors on the last trial, she was an alternate, so she didn't actually deliberate. They keep alternates in case something happens or whatever. She didn't actually deliberate. She was an alternate, but she's a lawyer.
Yeah.
And so she is so convinced that Karen Reed is being railroaded and framed. She has joined the defense team. And
really?
she's on their defense team for the second trial.
Well, we'll have to get Drew on again as this goes. I'd love to see in real time how he's interpreting.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Versus how, because I got the feeling you guys both kind of have it's hard to change people's opinion. Like it's really hard to change a juror's opinion when they're living it.
The thing is, I think Drew wants to really know what happened, and I do too. But at this point, it's her trial, and I think you have to look at it in terms of reasonable doubt. And I mean, Michael Proctor, the main trooper, I think we talked about it. He's been fired because of his conduct in this case. There was a police audit of that Canton Police Department, Canton, Massachusetts, and it came out today. And they have a whole section on this Karen Reed case. And they basically say they didn't follow any of the protocols that they were supposed to follow. They dropped the ball, basically, like everybody knows. I mean, they collected blood in red Solo cups and used a leaf blower to clear the snow away. So, I mean, it's just such a shit show. But don't worry, I will provide updates. I will be watching the trial every day in the background as I work.
So it sounds like we're a month out, 3 weeks to find a jury, and then they'll probably take a few days and then start it.
Yeah, they're thinking end of April for opening statements, probably. So, and then they're saying the trial is going to be 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be fascinating.
Could you imagine sitting for 6 to 8 weeks on a trial? First of all, I'd love it. That's my dream.
we'll have to get Turtle Boy on at some point.
There's some fuckery happening with him too.
I'm sure he'll want to talk. Maybe we get him on sooner than later.
Yeah.
To kind of set the table, because once it starts, then he'll be inundated with requests. For sure. Probably. So
he's making the rounds right now. So I'll reach out to him.
Okay, let's do it. Esus, this was so much fun, buddy.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't wait. Do you want to do it again next week? He needs to be a regular once a week. Yeah,
they say that now. You know what, dude?
I planned.
Just accept it.
Look, I wanted to have E on as many times as he wants to be on. If E wants to be on once a week, I would love it. I don't know how doable that is with E up north. Maybe it's totally doable.
Honestly,
that's up to you.
We can talk about it. The thing I know, I'm joking, but I'm also being truthful with that. When they say once a week, it's like you used to say, Mike, everyone, once you pop in and it's a special guest. And then the more you're in front of a mic, the more that wears off, because you're going to say something that will make those people mad then. I'm
not worried about that at all. That I'm not worried about.
I know you're not. I'm just making a joke of the idea of being all of a sudden there's been 2 people this is good.
Careful what you wish for.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's a nice break though from, talking about all the heavy shit. I mean, gosh, we talked over an hour about grievances. So, it's just
people love the grievances. Totally. People love the grievances. They even like it when I get railroaded on my grievances and I don't get a fair verdict. They get it. They get it.
Did you think you got a fair verdict today of an old man and pussy?
No, absolutely not. But that's okay. You guys are entitled to railroad me. If you want to Karen Read me, you can. It's fine.
Love that joke. Also, I think that we need to make the grievance. This is obviously a game now, so we're going to be keeping track. I will keep track of the scores.
I'm glad one came to me today, because I
am leading the way at the moment. I think I'm the only one that had bona fide. E had half of a bona fide.
My problem was always back in the day is I lived such this fumble about lifestyle that my grievances are just so I don't have real responsibilities.
Well,
so, you know what? I got to tell you, I went back and forth. I had another one that happened because, I was in the car for 6 hours today. So I had a lot of time to experience annoying things. And, when you go to the gas station and you get one of those pumps when you try to put it on the automatic setting and then it stops every 2 seconds.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, fuck this.
Yes.
All the way around.
It doesn't. And I will say this: that doesn't bother me as much in the summer.
Oh, that bothers the shit out of me.
Well, no, it still bothers me in the summer, but in the winter is when it bothers me the most.
It happened to me today. It was so windy and so cold. I got like $2 of gas in my car, and I'm like, I can't do this.
Have you had? have you had them where it's literally like 12 cents?
Yeah.
10 cents.
Yeah.
8 cents. 12 cents.
It's
13 cents. Yeah.
I could not. I hate that shit. So
yeah,
that's gonna be my other one.
It's pussy and old man, but it's bona fide pussy old man, for sure.
I guess I was supposed to grade on this now.
What's that?
No. That
okay. This is official. Is this official?
What did I miss?
No, like because she said we're gonna start keeping track or something, and I'm now. Is this an official grade, or am I just like we're just?
Yeah, you got a half.
There?
You got a half.
Yeah.
I got the railroad, but you got a half. Take it.
In terms of letter grade, I have an A. Has a B, and Mike has.
And
a
I
C.
start with an F, but that's okay. I can dig my way out of that. I understand what I'm up against. I get it.
Yep. That's
no one likes to
skipper.
dude. Cult leader comes with consequences. People are jealous. They take shots at you. You always got to watch your back, dude. I'm used to this. With
great power comes great responsibility, Mike.
Absolutely.
And hey, there's 321 people watching right now.
Hey,
various platforms. So
excellent.
Well, one time to point out that I also do a podcast called the E-Venture Cast.
Yeah, E-Venture Cast
for 300 people that are listening.
Where are they at? Where are you at?
They're on all, as Newberg would like to say, they're everywhere you pod. It's on iTunes and Spotify are the bigger ones for sure. We haven't been doing new episodes through the winter, but we are having new free episodes coming back again here in about
we're
2
in
weeks.
the off season at the moment.
In our Patreon episodes.
Yes, so we're doing Patreon episodes in the off season for the members, and once E gets back up to the island, we'll pick up again with the free shows.
I'll give one more cheap plug that I will say. I only ask $5 a month in the Patreon, and I have over 200 clips of audio and video clips of bonus content from me on the island with doing shows with Amy to whatever I'm doing around here in the winter with my parents. Horse shit. Some guy paying for horse shit. So,
there's a level for everyone.
Hey, anyway, it's one of my goals to one day be invited on as a guest. So maybe someday. We'll see.
I like this TDC thing. I think you got a good thing going here, Mike. But give me just let me just see where we're at in June, and we'll go from there. How about
normal world one day, E-Venture Cast the next.
Yeah, the day after you get back from Dallas, that's the day that I'll have you.
All right, guys, have a great night. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you enjoyed. And plan on next week one day. We'll pick a day
for sure,
and we'll do it.